Welcome to part 4 of this Healthy Edge 4-part series on prepping ahead for a week's worth of dinners. Thank you to our CEO and founder, Amber Teal, for listening to the Healthy Edge community when she asked what they'd like help with the most. The number one answer was prepping ahead for a week's worth of dinners. Today we're talking about why cooking at home is a good idea and how to make the most out of your kitchen and what's in it. Plus, I'll show you how to make my famous spicy hummus. Help! What's for dinner? I hear you. I'm Sherry Erickson, and in part 4 of this 4-part series, we are debunking those marketing messages that say you are too busy to cook, home cooking is complicated, or it's beneath you. And let's take a look at making the most of your kitchen and what's in it. I'm also showing you how simple it is to make one of the most popular health foods, hummus. Your kitchen is your workshop. As much as I love cooking shows, I understand they can be intimidating. Our kitchens don't look like what we see on TV. We don't have all those tools and equipment. There's no one doing our prep work behind the scenes and making us look good under the lights. True confession time. Nothing in my kitchen is from Williams-Sonoma. I didn't own a KitchenAid mixer or Cuisinart food processor until after my son grew up and moved out. I did look for good deals on kitchen tools and cookware that I knew would make my time in the kitchen easier and faster, and thus more enjoyable. Here are a few of my favorites. A large 6-quart slow cooker is an excellent investment. I received my first one, it was a 5-quart size, as a wedding gift in 1982. And I haven't been without one since then. This picture here is my 4th one. None of them broke. I gave them away and chose a new style or larger size. If you live in the Pacific Northwest, Fred Meyer Stores does a fun thing in the fall called Crocktober. For the entire month of October, crock pots are on sale. The term crock pot is trademarked, so I tend to use the generic term slow cooker. You can get one for $20 or a fancier one for $40 or more. Look for sales in your area and maybe even have more than one. Think abundantly. I have a friend who has one in every size. This is handy when cooking ahead or keeping food warm for a crowd. Cookware. The best pots and pans you can afford will bring you joy and happiness. I can almost guarantee it. It's so much easier to cook with quality cookware. Your food turns out better. You can cook faster. Cleanup is easier. You are less tempted to eat out. Reject the idea that quality cookware and tools are not important or that you're not worth it. You are making food for your family. This is important. Just as important as power tools in the garage used for handyman projects around the house. How often do you use those power tools? Once or twice a year? How often will you use a 12-inch skillet? Nearly every day, or at least once a week if you have a prep day. How do you afford these quality kitchen tools? I've mentioned Williams-Sonoma, and it's not that there's anything wrong with shopping there. It was just out of my price range for a long time, along with Crate & Barrel and Pottery Barn. So I hosted Pampered Chef parties instead and started my own kitchen tool collection, stocking up on quality tools and cookware, many with a lifetime guarantee. Whether it's Pampered Chef or another company that offers great deals on quality kitchen tools, don't give up on having the best you can afford. Remember the photo below from my frittata demo in part 3 of this series? See how well the pan released the frittata? That's because of two things. I followed the recipe for time and temperature, and the pan is high quality. This one has a lifetime guarantee, and I've had it replaced because I handle my kitchen workshop like a boss. A Vitamix blender. It's so much more than a blender. This is an investment that will pay off in the smoothest smoothies, healthy chocolate pudding made from real food ingredients, even soup. Yes, soup. It comes with a recipe book with the term whole food in the title. That's one place to find recipes that you can get familiar with using this appliance, and with easy whole food cooking as well. Look for additional recipes on the Healthy Edge website that work in your Vitamix. One of the big benefits of the Vitamix is how easy it is to clean. This encourages you to use it more often. Have you noticed that about kitchen equipment? If it's easy to clean, you're more likely to use it. My most recent adventure was grinding up 100% whole oats into flour, then doing the same with granola. Wow, this machine gets the job done. You can make homemade mayonnaise in here. Your family and friends will be impressed with your mad kitchen skills. A food processor. Mine is a Cuisinart and I love it. I can make mayonnaise, sorbet, and hummus, among other things. It shreds veggies and fruit in seconds instead of scraping my knuckles on a box grater. It's not as easy to clean as the Vitamix, but every piece can go in the dishwasher, so that's a close second for easy cleaning. Cuisinart has this machine figured out. This photo is my second one that was a gift from my mother-in-law. Its 14-cup capacity handles anything I throw at it. My previous one was 11 cups, and I got it at Costco. It came with multiple pieces, and I used all of them. I highly recommend watching for the Costco deals. This wasn't cheap, but I wasn't looking for cheap. I was looking for something that would last many years. It's an investment, and it's worth it. I never have to worry about it. It doesn't break down, it just works. That's what you want from your kitchen tools and appliances. All of the ones I've just talked about are this way. You want ones that are simple, durable, and they work when you need them to. Stay tuned for the end of this presentation because I'm showing you my famous spicy hummus made in my food processor, which you get a little preview of here in this picture. This is something you can make that is so much cheaper than store-bought. If you have a food processor but aren't using it regularly, this is an excellent recipe to get you started. And like I said, you can make mayonnaise in here, sorbet and homemade hummus. Homemade mayonnaise blends better in the Vitamix, but it's easier to scrape out of the food processor, so it's just your choice. If you only have one or the other of these machines, don't let that stop you from making something thinking you need the other one. Like if you don't have a Vitamix, you think you can't make salsa. Nonsense. Make it in your food processor, and vice versa. This is what I lovingly call my postage stamp kitchen. It's about the size of a small walk-in closet. The cupboards are poorly designed so that unless you're 6 feet tall, it's difficult to reach anything other than what's on either side of the stove. But I don't let that stop me from making whatever I want. I'm used to moving a couple items off the counter for a while so I can get my prep on. You can see my crock pot is out on the counter because I was using it. Normally, it's in the lower cupboard. And as you can see, my pantry has no food in it. I opened those cupboards on purpose for the lower picture so you could see. Instead, it holds all my food storage options, plus all my mixing bowls, most of my measuring cups, and various other tools and items that don't get used as much are in that top cupboard. So what's in your kitchen? What does your kitchen look like? One of the best ways to get the most out of your kitchen space is to keep it tidy, and then keep the items you use most within reach. This may be a good time to take inventory. We talked about cleaning out your pantry in the first part of this series. It might be time to clean out your kitchen tools. Get them organized into the ones you use the most. Donate the ones you never use and you're pretty sure you never will. And then use them. Use these tools that you have. Get the most out of them. And then, what are your favorite things to make in your kitchen? Post photos to the Healthy Edge Community Facebook page so we can all see and be encouraged. I like seeing what's happening in other people's kitchens. All right, books and beliefs. What are your belief systems about cooking? There's a couple books I read a few years ago that deeply affected what I thought of home cooking. I used to think it was a money saver, but in a negative way, because I didn't have much money to eat out or buy takeout, so I made that mean that I was poor. And so that must mean that only poor people cooked for themselves. This was the belief system I created around home cooking. Even though I enjoyed it because I loved to cook and bake, I didn't think highly of it and rarely gave myself credit for being able to follow a recipe and put a yummy dinner on the table. It took me many years to realize that this is something not everyone finds easy. With encouragement from my friends and family who ate my food, along with what I read in these two books, I began to change my mind about home cooking. Nina Plank's book, Real Food, is a revelation. It's in-depth and interesting. She tells the story of food through history and geography, with chapter titles such as milk, cholesterol, and butter. If you only read one book about food, read this one. It's a long book, but well worth it. It's a bit like an encyclopedia that you will refer to over and over again. And you'll be so encouraged about eating whole foods rather than having a diet mentality. Michael Pollan's book, In Defense of Food, is short and to the point. I highly recommend it. Along with his 20-minute YouTube video, How Cooking Can Change Your Life. Search for it by that title, and please watch it. It's important. There is some incredibly fascinating information in this video. The title alone gives you an idea. In Michael Pollan's video, he talks about the marketing messages we are bombarded with, some to the point that they've become part of our collective consciousness. This started back in the 1970s. Their message is that you don't have time to cook, so it's a good idea, special even, to pick up fast food. It's become normal to say that we are too busy to cook. Think about how often you hear that phrase. And then, if you do have time to cook, you are weird. How about the message that you're a loser? Cooking is for people who have nothing better to do. What are you doing in the kitchen? If you have time to cook, you are a loser because you should be out changing the world. I, however, choose to believe I can change the world, one salad at a time. How about this message? Cooking is complicated. What the heck are you doing in there? You could get hurt. Have you seen Iron Chef? Cooking is best left to professionals, like those we see on cooking shows. We think that because what we're doing doesn't look like what they're doing, then we must be doing it wrong, or definitely not as well. It's a very good idea to remind ourselves frequently that these messages are designed to make someone else a lot of money. They are not designed to support you in the healthy lifestyle you are creating for yourself and your family. Acknowledge how these messages may be affecting your attitude towards cooking. Recognize them for what they are, and then they lose their power. Choose to change your belief systems about home cooking. This is one way you can change the world. Here's some inspiration for you from Julia Child and Ina Garten to help you keep things simple. These are my two favorite chefs. Julia Child said, "You don't have to cook fancy or complicated masterpieces, just good food with fresh ingredients." And Ina Garten's signature phrase is, "How easy is that?" She loves easy, simple, good food. If it works for these two fabulous ladies, it can work for you. One last thought about our attitude towards cooking. Maybe you didn't grow up seeing your mom or dad cook meals regularly. Maybe you weren't allowed in the kitchen when grown-ups were cooking. As an adult, you're figuring out how to start this tradition for yourself and your family. That is okay. Start somewhere. Maybe start here. Start your own traditions and own it like a boss. Sherry's Spicy Hummus. Here it is. My recipe is adapted from Rachel Ray's. If you don't like it spicy, omit the spices. I like to double this recipe and freeze half of it. It freezes really well, which basically means that it thaws out really well. It's the same consistency and texture and yumminess as it was when you first made it. This is a great way to start using your food processor if it's been collecting dust. First things first, always gather your ingredients. This is always the first thing you do when making anything. These pictures are two examples of what this looks like when I gather my ingredients. Sometimes I use canned beans. Sometimes I've cooked them from dried. Sometimes I've got fresh peeled garlic myself, or sometimes fresh peeled garlic I've bought at the store. And just in case you didn't know, tahini is ground sesame seeds. I like to get organic. It's usually in the natural or health food section of grocery stores. You only use a few tablespoons at a time, 2 for a single batch, 4 for a double batch. So you will get many batches out of a jar of tahini. And this is really cool because it keeps really well as long as you keep it refrigerated. It'll last you a long time. So don't be intimidated by buying this big jar when you only need a couple tablespoons. You'll keep on making hummus and you will keep using it until it's all used up. You only need half a lemon if you're making one batch. So after squeezing half of that lemon into your food processor, what I do is I squeeze the other half into a small container and then I freeze it. Or I might use it right away to make a salad dressing because lemon juice and a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper makes a salad dressing. Voila! So you can make sure that you're going to use up all of these ingredients. And again, sometimes I have garbanzo beans in my freezer because I cook up a big batch from dried. Other times I buy them canned. All the ingredients go in the food processor at the same time and then process it for about 1 minute. And I always forget to take a picture of all the ingredients in the food processor before I push the on button. And once you push the on button in a food processor, in about 3 seconds, everything is blended up. But you do need to keep it going so you really get that good consistency. So let it go for about a minute, and then you're going to stop and check the consistency. It's probably going to be pretty thick. you're going to want to add a tablespoon or two of pure water to get to the consistency you like, because you'll find that homemade hummus is much thicker than what you buy at the store. Be careful and only add 1 tablespoon of water at a time. Blend it up some more, check your consistency, because it can get watery really quickly. When you've got the consistency you like, blend it again, just let it go for another minute to get it as smooth as possible. And you'll be checking your consistency again, because you could always add a little more water at that point. Smoother is better though, it just tastes better when it's smoother. And homemade hummus is really tasty, especially with these spices in it. And you can get creative and design your own version. Customize it. Use half garbanzos and half black beans, or another bean entirely, such as white kidney beans. White kidney beans are also called cannellini beans. So when you're shopping in the store and looking at the labels, you'll know what you're looking for. My husband likes to add spicy chili paste or sweet and sour chili sauce. Those are his favorite things to put in hummus when he makes it. This container was actually way more full when I first loaded it up and I was going to take the picture, but I was hungry and I started eating it before I could take the picture. So please don't judge. It really is a yummy, yummy thing. I'm really hoping that you will make it and get creative and design your own version and post it to the Facebook Healthy Edge page. That would be fantastic. I would love to see everyone's version of hummus. Well, we've come to the end of this series. Once again, I dedicate it to my mom, Louise, for being my main inspiration. I pray for many more years of asking her, "What are you cooking today, Mom?" For more of my recipes and ideas, visit my blog, busymealsonabudget.com. Thank you for spending this time with me. I appreciate how supportive the Healthy Edge community is for each of us. Remember, eat good and feel good.